Hey, movie lovers and citizens of Earth, welcome to Extra Entertainment Extra. I'm Richard Crouse. Terry Hart's toddled off back to TMN, but joining me in the studio, I have two very special guests. Director Bruce McDonald and actor and writer Maxwell McCabe-Lokos from a new film called The Husband, which is playing at the movie theater near you right now. Check it out. Bruce, of course, you know his work from Hardcore Logo and The Tracy Fragments. And how many movies have you made right now? We're talking like dozens, right?
Yeah, well, it's up in this past the dozen mark by now, I think. Yeah.
And The Husband is the latest of them. Now, Max, this was an idea that was generated by you. You came up with this, and it's the story about a young man who his wife is in jail for having sex with one of her students. She was a teacher, and it's the story of how you are trying to cope with this and sort of try and reconcile your life with, I guess, her actions. So tell me, where did this idea come from?
Well, originally the idea was from Kelly Harms, who we started to write the film together maybe around 5 years ago, and just sort of the idea to follow the male. You know, we have the story of the woman, like a teacher who sleeps with one of her students that's been told, and of course there's the male teacher who sleeps with his students, both well trod upon territory. So we just thought it'd be interesting to follow the spouse of one of those people, and we thought it hadn't been shown before, or popularly shown in a fictitious sense.
And what kind of research would you do, or did you? Did you look at case studies? There must be case stories out there of people that have had to deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a couple pretty depressing videos that you can find of Mary Kay Letourneau's husband, and he had a very strange reaction, and a couple of the other cuckold husbands in these famous cases had similar reactions, which was to kind of go on TV, to go on CNN or Larry King or something, and really like say how innocent they are and what a witch their wife was and how she's messed up, and kind of went overboard on defending themselves. That seemed really like, I mean, that's one way to deal with this. Our character Henry has a different reaction. I thought that would be, I didn't think that was very interesting, or you could really make a movie about somebody that just was a loudmouth about how awful their wife was. We thought it would be more interesting to show somebody that was just suppressing it and all the humiliation, and trying to continue as if nothing happened until, of course, he has to face it.
My guests in the studio are Bruce McDonald and Maxwell McCabe-Lokos, a director and writer and star of The Husband, in theaters right now. Bruce, this is a little different subject matter. Certainly, I mean, it was certainly a different subject matter, but it's a different subject matter for you after Hardcore Logo 2, which was such an uplifting. I loved that movie. I saw you at the Whistler Film Festival after seeing it for the first time and hugged you after the screening. I was so taken with it. But this is a much darker in tone film. What was it about this story when it was presented to you that appealed to you so much?
The script written by Max and Kelly, I thought was terrific. It was, really trying to understand what the male goes through in this crazy situation. And, it's about regaining your mojo. It's about kind of reclaiming your kind of masculinity and your power. And it was written as a suspense movie. There was this whole thing all the way along as you're reading the script. What's this guy going to do? Because it was kind of a set up in a way as a kind of a revenge movie. We meet our character and he's going through his day-to-day, and then one day on the street he sees the kid that did the deed, and that sets off the movie really. And so it's this cat and mouse game through the whole movie, and I just loved the way it was constructed and this sort of the suspense of it. And what is our character Henry going to do? What is he going to do when he finally kind of confronts, and you have a lot of bad feelings as you're watching this. It's like, man, don't go there.
Well, it's interesting because when he does confront the young man, who's still a teenager, right? He's a young man. He's still from 16, 17 years old. 14.
Well, he'd be 15 in the movie. He was 14 when it happened.
And I wasn't sure which way that was going to go, because you have an idea that possibly, it could go either way. Is he a victim? Is the 14-year-old boy a victim, or is he complicit in this act that has ruined your life? And I don't want to give anything away, but it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. If you can, in general terms, because I don't think we want to spoil this moment for people. Just tell us why you chose to go down the route that you did in terms of your character's reaction to this young man.
I think because we wanted to show that Henry, he's so lost. Like, he didn't know the right questions to ask. He's really just looking for somebody to blame, and he's looking for a remedy to this situation, which is the situation which is it's irrevocable and it's unsolvable.
Right.
And so the boy temporarily represents a solution to this problem. And, you know, I without giving too much away, as you said, I think the boy has much less to do with this situation than it's more about him and his wife, really, you know, and it's about how to deal with something, not who to blame.
Right.
Well, there's a bit of crime and punishment. I mean, there has been a crime committed, and there has been a kind of a domestic crime too. Lines have been crossed. So, you know, in a way, Henry is looking for, you know, he's been maybe punishing himself. Maybe he's looking for somebody to punish. And this is what's going through the audience's mind, or my mind when I first read the script, was like, you know, he begins to do irrational things. You think, okay, first looks like he's trying to befriend this kid and get on his good side, and then to do what? And then other elements come into play where he's sort of preparing something. You think, well, this might be a violent end to this confrontation. And so, you know, Henry's a mysterious and enigmatic character looking for some kind of closure on, you know, being the humiliated, cuckold husband.
Well, I thought it was interesting that we have the film from the point of view of your character, of Henry, because it is such an unimaginable thing to have happen that by personalizing it for one person, your character, is that like it's our doorway, our window, an audience's window into looking at a situation that A, you hope you never find yourself in, and B, you know, that you probably don't understand. But this gives you a little look at the chaotic thought process that must be going on in your character's head the entire time.
Yeah, I mean that's the sort of universal aspect of this movie is, okay, not everybody's had a specific situation of, you know, this kind of adultery or this, you know, a statutory rape in their family, but certainly everybody can relate to humiliation and shame, and just multiply it, explode it as people do in movies, and then that's what's relatable about it. I think that, you know, what we wanted with Henry is really to make it relatable, like just the feeling of, you know, not wanting to open up to people and to communicate to people, and being forced to, you know, go to work every day and have to put up with the giles and the, you know, the light chatter of your coworkers when all you have is a big dark cloud over your head.
When we come back, I'll continue my conversation with Bruce McDonald and Maxwell McCabe-Lokos. He is the director, writer, and star of The Husband. Stay with us. Hey, movie lovers, citizens of Earth, welcome back to Entertainment Extra. I'm Richard Crouse. Joining me in studio, Bruce McDonald, the director of The Husband, and the writer and star, Maxwell McCabe-Lokos, join me. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Great to be here, Richard.
Now, Bruce, this is your first film that I can think of that is about family, about a family unit in this way. I think that other films that you've made have been about sort of loosely knit groups of people that could be considered family in some ways, but this is the first time that I would suggest, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, that it's a film about a family unit, conventional family unit. Is that right?
That is totally right. And I was very surprised for myself to kind of come to that realization. It's like, wow, you know, I made all these things, and this is the first time that, dealt specifically with the family and the relationships of the husband and wife and the child. They have a child, and you're probably going to ask me, well, why is that?
That's where I was going to go. You're a family man.
Maybe I have a daughter and a lovely wife, and you know, so maybe it's the feeling of being in the family, which is a great place to be.
I kind of felt
I don't know why, honestly, like why that is, but I have thought about it on occasion, like why that hasn't been. Whereas it's quite a common thing to make a film about families.
Well, it's funny. When I saw Hardcore Logo 2, I really thought that there was kind of a shift to a different tone of filmmaking for you there, and not just the visual style, but the sort of slightly more optimistic look at things.
Sure.
And I wonder, you've got a beautiful daughter who I love, as you know, and wife, and family life is good. And maybe that's feeding into this, no?
I think so, for sure. And the other thing, that family life is just a rich place of stories. I mean, if anybody, Chekhov to Altman to whoever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no end of amazing stories and characters. So, maybe it's, when you're beginning and you're making things and you're trying to be original and you're trying to be different and you're trying to avoid the obvious, and the obvious is not a bad thing. Not that this family stories are obvious, but there's just such rich, fertile material. And, maybe the lesson for me is not to be afraid of, things that are right in front of you and mine that and not worry so much about, we've got to be crazy and original
edgy
and that sort of thing.
Now, Max, when you wrote this, were you writing it specifically for you to play the main character, or was this a script? You said it took 5-ish years to develop this. Was that always the intention?
Yes. No, it was. I mean, it's a good trick, to if you're in this industry, if you can't find the work that you want, then you do your best to create it, if you can.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, in this case, it really was something that I always wanted to play, which probably was what made it take so long. If it had somebody else attached to it, then there might have been more response from different people, different financiers. But yeah, in this case, I was always going to play Henry.
And just from my point of view, as the reader of the script, and Max and Kelly brought the script to me, to know that Maxwell was playing the main character kind of completely sold me on the project, because it was a great thing to read with Maxwell in mind, playing the guy. I could see it and I could understand it, and it was a very particular tone and humor.
And obviously very close to the material. You would spend 5 years honing it.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about The Husband with director Bruce McDonald and writer and star Maxwell McCabe-Lokos. Stay with us. Hey, movie lovers and citizens of Earth, welcome back to Extra Entertainment Extra. I'm Richard Crouse. Joining me in studio, we have Bruce McDonald, director of The Husband, and star and writer Maxwell McCabe-Lokos. The film is in a theater near you right now. Check your local listings. And if it's not near you right now, it will be very soon. So just keep checking it out. It's the story of a young man whose wife is doing jail time for sleeping with a 14-year-old boy. He's an ad agency copywriter, and he struggles to deal with with his impotent rage in this, as it says here, gutsy black comedy from beloved Canadian maverick Bruce McDonald. Wow. I believe that's right out of the TIFF Bell Lightbox playbook. What was the audience reaction to this at the festival, at the Toronto International Festival?
I was very surprised at the reaction. That was very people were very taken with this movie and very. They went in deep, and they I think they loved the kind of the oddness and the suspense of the story. I think they loved the situation, and I think they loved how authentic and true it seemed to be in terms of the performances by Maxwell and Sarah Allen and
who's
August
fantastic in the movie. She plays your ex-wife, and she's fantastic in the movie.
So and usually at the festival they'll have 2 or 3 screenings, and in this case, the venues kept getting bigger and bigger, and it's always a bit frightening because the first screening is usually well attended, and by the third, you're not quite sure what's going to happen. But third screening was packed to the rafters.
Yeah, they were all sold out.
So it was, and everywhere it's played on the festival circuit so far, it's done very well, and it's surprising because it's an odd story, and it's an odd. We don't have big. Known stars in it, but the actors are fantastic and terrific, and it's a great discovery for people. I think what they tend to like is that they don't know where it's going, and there's a great suspense to it, and a great love story, really. Well,
it's that, and I'll add, just before I go over to you, Maxwell, that I like that it's a simply made movie.
Yeah.
In the sense that it tells me the story in a really compelling way, but it doesn't distract me with anything else except the bits of information that I need to know to keep me in the moment in that movie where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. I liked the efficiency of the story.
I think that, it's a testament to the design of the story in terms of that triangle of, the husband, the wife, and the lover. In this case, the lover is 14 years old and the wife's in jail. And the design of that and how the movie as a motor operates in that sort of quest to get answers from our main character, Henry, who's trying to, I guess, as I said before, get his mojo back and kind of find closure in this kind of very horrible, humiliating situation.
Maxwell, were you nervous at the first screening? This is a lot of your life. 5 years is a long time to work on something, and then there it is.
Yeah.
And so were you nervous?
I mean, I was I was nervous, but not in a way that was like, oh, this is going to go bad. I kind of, I was sort of more relieved than anything to get it to finally finish. I mean, we were very tight. Like the schedule, we were still,
The film was still
doing
dripping when you dropped it out.
basically, yeah.
I don't know why it is. It's always that way.
It is
that
always
way.
that
I
way
mean,
at the festival.
So it felt good for it to be, complete. I wasn't really that nervous. I mean, I had a sort of butterflies in my stomach feeling.
Right.
But.
Well, I think, too, because Max was a great co-star, co-maker of the film. He was there as we were casting. We together on set, often collaborating on how to approach certain things through the editing. Maxwell was a part of that and the music. So I think by being along the way so much, there was a great relief in seeing it, and you knew it so well. I think you were kind of very.
It wasn't the first time I saw it. Where we were at the sound mix like 3 days before it screened, and the title was like the wrong color or something, so they had to fix it. But it was a relief to have it complete.
The film is called The Husband. If it is not already, it will be soon, playing in a theater near you. Then it will go on to iTunes, so you'll have a chance to watch it again. Check this movie out. My guests in studio have been Bruce McDonald, director. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much,
What are you
Richard.
working on right now? You've always got 5 movies on the go.
A Halloween movie called Hellions. It's coming out this October.
If you need anyone to play a zombie, let me know. Okay. And Maxwell McCabe-Lokos, star and writer of this film. Congratulations on this. I'm really excited to see what people say. At the film festival, you have a film festival audience. I want to know what civilians think about this movie. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.